Hi everyone, it's Maddie Brady. We're here to get real about mental health. Stay tuned for some great conversations with some very special guests. Welcome to Get Real. We are here with Matt Fumo, and he's about to tell us about an incredibly inspiring journey, starting back with an injury.
Yeah, I'm Matt Fumo, and I had a spinal cord injury 5 years ago, and now I am doing triathlons, and as you said, I'm climbing up mountains.
Yeah, so obviously I heard about your injury when it happened, and it was pretty severe, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly was the diagnosis of it all?
So the first diagnosis, I was complete, which means you're not able to move anything under your injury, and Asia A, which means pretty much the same thing, or that you can't really recover from.
Mm-hmm.
And so the doctors told me I would never walk again, and it was at my neck, so I wouldn't be able to move any arms, anything under my injury.
Wow.
So yeah, that was 5 years ago, and now I'm fully recovered, basically, with some pains that goes along with it. But yeah, it took me a while, but that was my first diagnosis.
So obviously the physical capacity of it all is absolutely astounding that you were able to do that. But how did you stay mentally motivated? And what was that like, fighting through that battle mentally?
It was very hard, to say the least. There was very dark times in the hospital for the first 2 weeks. It was kind of, I didn't really know what was going on completely. And I didn't know where I was. I was in Atlantic City, but I thought I was in Philly. But yeah, it was kind of just shocking. And hearing that I would never walk again, I couldn't really believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just get mad at doctors and tell them to get out of my room.
Yeah.
I never really accepted that.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. And obviously you not accepting that worked out in your favor, which it normally doesn't. But so what do you remember, if you're comfortable talking about the actual accident, what do you remember of that actual day?
Yeah, I remember the whole thing up until I was in the ambulance, because that's when they put me on all the medication.
Mm-hmm.
But when I dove into the water, it was because a friend came up on a jet ski, and I raced another friend that was standing right next to me. Whoever got on the jet ski first got to ride it.
Yeah.
And I'm super competitive, so I went in head first. And then I thought I was going to hit the jet ski, but then I went for the bottom instead, just because I thought it would be safer. But ended up not being safer, and I hit the bottom. And then I was drowning for, I would say, 2-3 minutes.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I heard my friends saying, stop joking. And I had to accept death in that moment. And then until my friend flipped me over.
Wow. So your friend saved your life, right? I've heard bits and stories of this, bits and pieces of this story rather. So your friends thought you were actually joking first, so it took them a little bit to get to you.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was terrifying when that happened. Yeah.
So when your friend flipped you over, how did you get to shore?
He was swimming me, but it was in an inlet, so the tide was fast. But so another friend jumped in, and they started swimming with me.
Yeah.
And just held me at the shoreline, because there happened to be a nurse on the beach.
Wow.
And she told us just to hold his head and his body floating there, just at the shoreline.
Oh my gosh. And also, for people who don't know detail about this accident or where it happened, it is in one of the worst rip currents, basically. Yeah. We're both from the same hometown. It's the worst area you could possibly be in, more or less. That's incredible that obviously your friends were able to get you to shore.
Yeah, for real.
And then
shout out.
Yeah. That's absolutely insane. And then so they got you to shore. There was a nurse there, and then the paramedics came and all of that. And then you were in the ambulance and then blacked out.
Yeah, right before the ambulance, my mom was actually on the beach. I told her I love her, and I also told her that I just ruined my life, and I thought that was like it for me. And then told her I love her, and then was in the ambulance, and I don't remember the next 4 days.
Oh my gosh, wow. So did you go into a coma after that, or?
No, I was just heavily medicated. Okay. I remember bits and pieces, but it felt like a dream.
Yeah.
Like I thought I was in a hotel getting like messed up with my friends.
Oh my gosh.
And happened I was paralyzed just on like the highest dosage of medicine.
Wow. Yeah. So then right away the doctors told you would never be able to walk again.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel like you truly in the back of your head you just never accepted that as your reality?
Yeah, I don't think I could have at the time. There's never really a moment that I thought I was gonna not walk again. Just because I've always felt like if I had that thought, then I wouldn't be able to do it no matter what. It just like gives me the chance to do it. If I have it, like I will walk again. Yeah,
that's absolutely incredible because people always talk about manifestation, but it's more so, I want to be a millionaire. I'm going to manifest it, all of that. But that's really you being mind over matter and telling yourself that everyone else was wrong. And that's like when people talk about an insane self of confidence and set of confidence in themselves where they just don't believe anyone else or anyone else around them, and you just truly knew that you would walk again.
Yeah. And it was all like I said, I'm super competitive, so anytime someone told me that I couldn't do something, I just right away I was like, yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Like at first it was breathing on my own. So I couldn't breathe. I was on a breathing tube and a feeding tube, and they told me that would be 1 year to 3 years. And
oh my gosh.
It was only 7 days, I think, or probably a little less than that. My timeline's a little messed up because it felt so long.
Yeah.
But that was the first. Then moving a muscle, then walking, or it was probably standing, walking, then running, jumping, and also like going to Disney was a big one.
Really?
Because there's like, you'll never walk around Disney. You'll have to use a wheelchair then. Yeah. And probably only then. And then I did that like 3 years later. And then, now I'm doing like triathlons, like the hardest activity possible. Yeah. So what was it like when you first moved your muscle? What muscle was it? What did that feel like for you? It was weird. It was the inside of my thigh, I remember. And the doctors didn't believe that was me doing it because there's something called spasms. And that's just like your body just doing it on itself or by itself. Yeah. And you're not like mentally doing it. But I was like, I know I'm doing that. Like, I know it's me. And then eventually I could do it like on command every time. And they realized that it actually was me. Wow. And then from there, you decided that you would be able to walk again, right? Yeah, it was more of like, there might be a chance. Okay. Instead of like, I know I'm going to do it. And then you met someone, right, that also was able to walk again after being paralyzed? Yeah, that was probably, I would say 2 months after my injury. And I knew that at that point I could be like walking a little bit, maybe like with a weird gait or like a limp or something. But I saw him come into my room and I was like, I thought it was just like a person that was helping the guy that was coming in, but he was like, no, I was in the same spot as you. Wow. Like, then that's when I realized it was like, oh wow, I could actually like make a full recovery. Yeah. So what was it like fighting through the process of being able, those baby steps, obviously, from being paralyzed to being able to walk again and all of that physical therapy, and what was your mindset really throughout that? It was super focused. Like there's a lot of people now that I'm friends with in like that community, the disabled community. And then they always talk about the people that were like in the hospital with me, but I won't remember who, just because I was like so focused on walking again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just like was head down. There was definitely dark times, but
yeah,
for the most part, I was just like, getting out of here walking.
That's incredible. That's absolute tunnel vision. Yeah. Absolute tunnel vision energy. So did you decide when you were still in that process that you were going to start doing races and all of that? Or did you learn how to walk first and then thought, I'm going to take this to a new level?
It was definitely walk first. I was never like, I would say like 2 steps ahead for my goals. I never really like thought of like the bigger picture that much. I was just like step by step. I have to like keep going forward.
Okay.
It was just easier that way mentally, just because if I start thinking about like 3 years or 5 years from now, I'll be doing this, it would just like drive me insane.
And then what about climbing the mountain? So how did that all start?
So there's a place called Breakneck Ridge in Hudson River Valley, probably like 30 minutes from here. And it's a really hard climb. And my brother, dad, and aunt, they all wanted to go do it with me. Like eventually they'll be like, oh, it's called Breakneck Ridge, and since you broke your neck, you have to climb it with us. And so that was a goal, I think, pretty close to when I got out of the hospital, when I started like walking around on my own. So yeah, then I did it probably 2 years after that.
Wow.
And yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah, climbing Breakneck. So what about the triathlon? Was that before, after?
That was after. I didn't decide to do a triathlon. I never thought I would do it in my life. But for my 5th year anniversary, I wanted to do something just to like prove everyone wrong. So I decided to do the triathlon because I knew it was just like 3 different extremely hard, like taxing exercises. Yeah. And especially to start with swimming, which is just so weird. It's like redemption to be back in the water.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even think about that. Did you feel scared to get back in?
Not really for that long. It took me probably when I was out of the hospital. Well, I guess it was when I was out of the hospital, it was winter time, so there was never a time I could be in water. So, and then during the summer, it never really was a thought until I was actually in the water. And if my head was down under, it would be like kind of weird, have like PTSD. But yeah, I knew I wanted to get over that somehow.
Yeah, especially growing up, obviously, at the water. But it's insane to think you not only broke your neck, but you were also legitimately drowning, which is, I think, everyone's worst fear, to be fully presently drowning and not being able to do anything about it. And then to get back into the water, that's phenomenal. Thank and then you, race back in the water. Like, that is absolutely being a unit.
Yeah, I don't think I could dive into the water, but I do love being in the water
maybe
now.
No more diving, but that is phenomenal. That is absolutely insane. So you swam, you biked, and you ran. How far was everything?
It's all in like kilometers or meters. So it was a little less than a mile swim, 26-mile bike, and 10K, so 6-mile run. Yeah,
like 6.2. Wow, that is insane. I mean, most people, if you think about it, most people who can walk and have always never even accomplished that, and you were able to do that afterwards. That's so inspiring. I mean, that's a story that you have to think about when anyone's thinking, oh, I don't want to go for a run, or I don't want to walk there, whatever. Those are the stories that like get people out of bed, and you lived that.
Yeah. For me, it's really easy just because I'm so grateful to do it. So running, I feel like amazing when I'm running.
Yeah.
Just because I'm able to do it.
Yeah. Wow. And do you still run and train? Do you have any races coming up or see that in your future?
Eventually I want to do an Ironman, which is a lot more. But right now I'm not really training for anything. That was very taxing on my body. So like I took it light for a while and I'm getting back into like training for whatever I want to do now.
Yeah.
More volleyball than anything. Right now.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool. Did you play volleyball before?
I played a little bit of beach in the summers, but I didn't start until like a year or two ago with my brother a lot.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. Ironman, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
That
would be crazy.
It's going to be a feat. Well, you're definitely going to do it. Yeah. That's no doubt. No doubt with that. Do you feel like your main motivation, how I noticed you said you wanted to prove everyone wrong, do you think that helped push you, that so many people told you no, that you just had that chip on your shoulder?
I would say it helped me during the experience and like getting to where I am now. But I've been realizing it's not helpful like in the present day right now, just because like anytime someone tells me that I can't do something or like tries to tell me to do something, then I'll like kind of like I'll be like, no. Yeah. I won't listen. So it's like kind of disrespectful now. So I'm trying to learn.
Yeah. Well, obviously it helped you a lot.
Yeah. Motivation wise, it helps a lot.
Yeah. I honestly feel like sometimes that is the best motivation, is having people not believe in you or tell you can't do something. You just got to get out there and say, watch me. Do you feel like things from prior to the injury, that whatever competitive edge you already had in you helped you a lot? And where do you think that initially comes from?
Yeah. Definitely from playing sports, just growing up playing basketball and baseball, like 24/7, just like your brother. Yeah. And then it's mostly from my dad, I would say. Just he was always my baseball coach, and then he had cancer 13 or 14 years ago, and the radiation killed his jaw, and he had some surgeries, and they messed up on 3. And now he can't eat. It's been like 11 years since he hasn't been able to eat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then I would say 2 months before my injury, he had a triple bypass. That was also like from the radiation. It was like an emergency surgery. Yeah. And like just from like going back and forth from like war stories, basically, we like kind of know like a survival mode, how to like get through something like that.
Wow. So it runs in the family, really. That's insane. Do you feel like your family and your friends really helped you through that? Yeah. Through it all?
Yeah. Just as almost as like a distraction a lot of the times, because your mind can go to like so dark during those times that you just like can't move and you feel claustrophobic in your own body. And when there's like people around, we would just like watch TV and talk, and so that would help so much, just like taking it off my mind.
Yeah. How do you feel today about everything? Where is your mental headspace at today?
It's a lot better than before my injury. Like, I'm so thankful that it happened to me. Just wow. Yeah. Even before I was walking, I was very thankful, because I was very depressed before, and like I had times of like thinking about like suicide and all, but now I'm just like so grateful for life. And sometimes I am sad a lot of the times, but like I know how to get over that a lot faster and just like be grateful for like the present.
That's absolutely incredible. I mean, I think that could go a really long way and teach a lot of people things. Obviously not to dismiss people's depression and how they feel. Obviously their feelings are valid and all of that, but I mean, you're living proof that you were depressed beforehand, and now you went through one of the most traumatic things you can go through mentally and physically that you possibly can go through, and now you came out on the other end and you're actually grateful and happier, you would say?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like I'll have times of like depression and anxiety now, and I just know like certain ways to cope with it, whether it's like, oh, I gotta start writing more, I have to meditate, do like an exercise, like breathing exercises and all.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that I've learned throughout the experience of like how to, I don't really like this word, but like cope with it.
Absolutely. Do you believe in a higher power after all of this? Do you believe that it happened for a reason, or what are your thoughts on all of that?
I go back and forth. I do. I think there's a higher power. I'm not really sure what that is, but yeah, I think everything happens for a reason. Still not really sure what that is, but yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you inspire so many people, and your mindset is absolutely so inspiring that anyone, I feel, that just went through an injury or is in the hospital for whatever it may be, it could watch what you're saying, and just, it's so helpful and absolutely astounding that you are where you are. So I mean, I definitely think that is a reason, but it's amazing.
Yeah, like now I'm face to face with people that's going through it, just because I'm working at my old rehab center, or it's strictly for paralysis or paralysis recovery. And I'm just like talking to them all day long of how to get through it and like the steps it takes, and just like helping them even like train, because like that's what I'm doing basically. I'm just like teaching them how to walk. And yeah, it's very fulfilling.
So you actually go back and help people that are in where you were.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Is it hard for you? Does it bring back memories of when you were there, or it's just all?
Yeah, all the time. Like sometimes it's hard for me. Like I'll just like go to the bathroom real quick because I'm thinking about myself, and I want to be just there for the person in front of me. So like I have to like take a breather, just be like, all right, it's not about me right now. I gotta help this person.
That's incredible. I mean, your story from start to finish just gets better and better and better.
Thank you.
I mean, it's absolutely
it's not finished,
incredible.
Hopefully.
Yes, no, it's not. You're doing the Ironman. What else are you gonna do?
Right now I'm writing a book, and hopefully I'll be done within the year.
Wow.
And then I want to do like public speaking, motivational speaking.
Absolutely. Do you feel like at this point there's anything you can't do?
It's gonna sound very cocky, but not really.
No, that's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. No, I honestly feel like that's how you have to think. And that's a lot of videos I've watched before. You have to be delusional, and for any normal person, it might be delusional, but you did the hardest thing you could ever possibly do already. So for you, it's just like, that's cake at this point.
If I have like anxiety about something I have to do, I'm like, oh wait, I've been through so much worse.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing out there. No, that's absolutely incredible. And I think a story that a lot of people need to hear, especially if they're going through a hard time, whether it be from an injury or even just being in a really low spot or depressed. I mean, this is a story that really can wake you up and make you thankful for everything you have and all the good parts.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course.
Yeah.
So what is your dream in the end?
Ooh. I just want to help as many people as possible to like achieve everything they want to achieve, whether that's like walking or taking their first steps, or like even more just like I don't know, doing a triathlon, or just like even I just like want to raise money for like people with disability, just because it is very expensive, and so I want to do that eventually too.
Wow. And so this is pretty hard hitting, but do you feel like, so you said you were depressed before. I know so many people today struggle with a form of depression, or anxiety, both, mood disorders, and there has been a dramatic increase since there's social media and today's present world. Do you feel like going through what you went through, that a lot of those people could be helped if they were able to really practice something where they are more grateful for what's in their life, or some sort of gratitude, or something that could help pull them out of what they're going through?
Yeah, for sure. There's like different exercises you could do, just like not even like actual lifting weights and running or something. There's this like meditation, yoga, just going outside, walking, and then like writing, reading, and like doing whatever you like doing, or whatever makes you happy. And yeah, like going through it, it's still been like pretty hard. There's just like times that like my body doesn't want to like move that well, and like there's like I have pins and needles in my hands all the time, and my back aches all the time too. So and it feels like I just did like a super hard exercise like yesterday. So it feels like I just did like a leg workout. And like whenever I think about that, I'll tend to go to like a darker place, but I know how to get out of it just with like the gratitude or like doing something that makes me happy.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you feel almost silly when you obviously have never experienced anything like that. And I mean, I've been in deep depressions as well. And you think about, I mean, I feel like if you're able to think about people going through things like that, or people in other countries with the earthquake and everything else going on, if you're able to really conceptualize what other people are going through and be grateful for what you do have, I think it's unfortunate that our society really pushes a lot of things that make us really depressed.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
You can get caught up in very quickly and get very depressed. But when you think about other people's battles, I mean, we really should all be practicing a lot more gratitude.
Yeah. And like people, they do push like very depressing and negative stuff, but I always like see it as like, just thankful that I'm not going through that. Or yeah, that's usually how I think of like either something sad or like something very like just terrible that's happening on the news, or like a movie or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you feel like social media projects more depression onto people?
Yeah, for sure. Just because there's like the comparing element to it.
Yeah.
And there is some good things about social media, like meeting new people and just like seeing the world, I guess. And yeah, it's just the comparing aspect that really like is hard to deal with.
Yeah. I think today there's so many better things, like exactly what we're doing right now, hopefully is inspiring people. So today there's so much positive content you can consume, but I think we're obviously a very similar age that when it first came out, it was definitely highlight reel, and constant comparison between each other. And I think it caused a lot of people to go into really dark spots and constantly compare, when in reality people are dealing with insane feats.
Yeah. And I do like now how like all the social media has been going like into like more real life that people are living.
Absolutely.
Instead of just the highlight reel.
Yeah, it can help people now. Well, I know this is certainly going to help a lot of people. So thank you so much for coming on and your story. No, I mean, I was hearing bits and pieces from the beginning and following your story, and then I saw he has another video on his profile that you've made, and I've been inspired from the start. So hearing more about it is just absolutely incredible, to go from being paralyzed to literally climbing mountains. Just insane.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's been an honor to have you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. So if people want to follow you and find more about your story, where can they do that?
I'm mostly just on Instagram at Matt Fumo. And yeah, that's it.
All right, perfect.
I'm Matt Fumo and I got real.
Thanks for tuning in and getting real with us. Podcasts will be posted every other Wednesday on Spotify and YouTube. Please reach out via DM if you want to chat.